Give us your entire salary, or you're no longer part of this family. Those words sliced through the applause and clinking glasses like a blade, right there at my father's retirement party. People were still raising their champagne flutes when my dad turned to me with that stone-cold look and laid down an ultimatum I never saw coming. My name is Natalie, and from wherever you're watching this, stay with me. Because family is supposed to protect you, not bleed you dry. I stood there, trapped between the band's cheerful notes and my father's crushing demand. Dad, I tried to laugh. You must be joking. But he didn't even blink. Mom stayed quiet, eyes on the buffet table. And then my sister, of all people, stepped forward, arms crossed, a sneer on her lips. Natalie, she said, this is the least you can do. Dad built this family, and you're going to repay him. I nearly dropped my glass. Repay him? With every dime I make. She nodded like a soldier on command. Yes. That's how families support each other. Something twisted inside me. A memory, blurry but sharp enough to cut. All those nights Dad told me to stand on my own feet, to earn what I wanted. How dare he now? I turned to face him fully, ignoring the guests who'd started to glance over nervously. You really think you can control me like this? After everything? His voice was like a hammer on steel. If you won't contribute, Natalie, you're out. Simple as that. A tremor shot through my spine. I scanned the faces around me. Cousins, aunts, friends. No one dared speak. The live band went on playing, a twisted soundtrack to my humiliation. Okay, I breathed. If that's what you all think of me, then I'm out. I left my glass on the table, turned, and walked out before the tears burned their way down. Hours later, after I'd been sitting alone at a gas station trying to steady my heartbeat, my phone began to vibrate nonstop. I ignored the first call, then the second. By the third, I couldn't help myself and picked up, half ready to scream. It was my mother, her voice shaky. Natalie, please, you need to come back. What for? I asked, heart pounding. Her voice broke. It's Dad, something happened. And that's when I heard him whisper my name from behind the door. My heart jumped into my throat. I spun around in that dirty gas station restroom, the phone still pressed to my ear. My mom was breathing so hard I could hear the fear rattling in her lungs. Mom, slow down, I said, wiping my eyes with my sleeve. What happened to Dad? He collapsed, Natalie. At the party, right after you left. I felt the blood drain from my face. Collapsed? My father had been cold, ruthless, but he was always iron strong. The idea of him keeling over was impossible. I tried to steady my voice. Is he alive? Yes, she choked out, but the ambulance just took him away. Natalie, please. Your sister is losing it. We need you here. I wanted to scream. Part of me wanted to say you all made your choice, but a different part, the broken little girl inside me, couldn't leave them like that. Where is he? I whispered. At the county hospital. I closed my eyes, pulled a deep breath, then started the car. 15 minutes later, I was walking down sterile hallways, the smell of disinfectant mixing with stale coffee. My sister, Brooke, sat outside an emergency room, mascara streaking her cheeks. When she saw me, she bolted upright. You came, she gasped, voice brittle. I'm not here to fight, I said, holding on my hands. Where's Dad? She jerked her thumb at the closed door behind her. They're running tests. He kept asking for you, Natalie. Over and over. I shook my head, a bitter taste on my tongue. That's rich. 1 minute I'm trash, the next I'm some savior. Brooke flinched, tears welling. Please, just talk to him. A nurse came out, nodded at us, and stepped aside. I walked in. My father was hooked to monitors, his skin pale, breathing shallow. It was like someone had ripped the steel from his bones. His eyes fluttered open. Natalie, he croaked, so quiet I barely heard. Dad, I whispered, coming closer, every muscle tense. His hand trembled as he reached for mine. I'm sorry, he rasped. I pushed too hard. I swallowed, not sure what to believe. Why would you do that to me? He looked away, shame twisting his face. Because I thought I was protecting our legacy by stealing my entire paycheck? His eyes closed, pained. I didn't see it like that. I was wrong. I wanted to scream, to hit him, to shake him until he saw the truth. But all I could do was stand there, empty and tired. The machines beeped, steady and cold, while the night felt heavy on my shoulders. And that's when I heard him whisper my name from behind the door. Natalie. The voice behind me was so close, I actually jumped, spinning around to find my Uncle Jared standing in the doorway. His face was pale, the lines around his mouth tight with worry. "Uncle," I blurted out. "What are you doing here?" He stepped inside, glancing at Dad on the hospital bed. "I came as soon as I heard," he said, voice low. "Brooke called me." I folded my arms. Of course she did. Another family intervention. Jared sighed. "I know you're angry. You have every right. But you should know the whole story before you decide to cut everyone off." My stomach twisted. "What story?" He looked straight at me, so serious I felt like a kid again. "Your dad, he was trying to pay off a huge debt. That's why he asked for your money." My mouth fell open. "A debt?" He told me nothing. Jared nodded grimly. "He was being blackmailed, Natalie." I felt the room tilt around me, the smell of antiseptic suddenly overwhelming. "Blackmail? By who?" Jared hesitated. "By a man who claims your father ruined him 25 years ago. Said he'd expose something about a woman your dad was involved with." I nearly choked on my own breath. "What woman? Dad cheated on Mom?" Jared swallowed hard. "It's complicated. I shouldn't even be the one telling you this." My mind was spinning, 1,000 ugly possibilities slicing through my thoughts. So, what? He'd rather bleed me dry than confess to Mom? Jared winced. He was desperate to protect the family name. "It doesn't make it right, Natalie. But that's the truth." I looked back at Dad, still fragile and wired to machines. Everything I'd believed was collapsing. My father, the Iron Giant, being blackmailed over an affair? I could barely breathe. Why didn't he just tell me? Why did he have to destroy me instead? Jared placed a hand on my shoulder. "Because your father has never known how to ask for help. He only knows how to command it." My hands curled into fists. I'm supposed to save him from his own damn mistakes? Again? Jared didn't answer. The silence was heavy, thick. I heard the monitor beep steadily behind me, the air too still, the weight of every lie pressing into my ribs. And that's when I heard him whisper my name from behind the door. "Natalie." This time it was Brooke, her voice cracking as she stepped inside the room. Her eyes were swollen from crying, and when she saw Uncle Jared, she flinched like a guilty child. Can I talk to you?" she asked me, barely above a whisper. I nodded, following her out into the hallway. The fluorescent lights made everything look uglier, more exposed. Brooke wiped her face with trembling fingers. "I know you hate me right now," she started, "but you have to understand why I backed Dad up." I crossed my arms. "Try me." She took a shaky breath. "I'm pregnant, Natalie." My head snapped back, my brain trying to process. "What? Since when?" 3 months, she said, tears spilling. "And Dad promised he'd help with the baby, but only if I stood by him. I didn't want to lose that." I just stared at her, disbelief burning a hole in my chest. "So you threw me under the bus to save yourself?" Brooke's shoulders collapsed. "I'm sorry. I was terrified. You know how he is. I thought if I did what he wanted, he'd protect me." I felt sick. All those lectures from Dad about family loyalty, and the second it served them, they twisted it like a knife. Brooke reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "You know what that did to me? You know how small he made me feel." "I do," she sobbed. "I do. That's why I need your help now. Please, Natalie. Help us fix this. We can't let that man blackmail him anymore." "Us." I snapped. "Since when are we a team again?" Brooke crumbled. I know I don't deserve it. But this is bigger than us. If that man exposes Dad, Mom will leave him. Everything will fall apart." I let out a bitter laugh. Maybe it should. She shook her head violently. Natalie, please. If not for him, then for me. For the baby. I stared at my sister, watching her break in front of me. Part of me wanted to turn away and let the whole mess burn. Another part, the same soft, forgiving peace that had kept me alive all these years, couldn't do it. Fine. I spat, voice low. But don't think for a second I'm doing this for him. She nodded, a fragile smile fighting through the tears. And that's when I heard him whisper my name from behind the door. Natalie. Dad's voice again, weak but clearer than before, called to me through the crack of the hospital room door. I stepped back inside, feeling every nerve in my body coil. He tried to sit up, wires tugging at his skin. I heard you talking with Brooke, he rasped. I crossed my arms. Yeah, well, turns out your precious golden child sold me out to protect her own hide. He winced. Don't say that about your sister. She was scared. I laughed, bitter and sharp. Scared? Dad, you threatened to disown me if I didn't hand over every paycheck for the rest of my life. That's not family, that's a hostage negotiation. He looked away, shame crawling up his face. I was desperate enough to ruin me? I shot back. God, do you even hear yourself? He reached for me, his hand trembling. Natalie, I was wrong. I see that now. But I can't fix it alone. A wave of rage rolled through me, crashing against every good memory I had of him. Then tell me everything, I demanded. No more secrets. No more guilt trips. Who is this blackmailer? What are they holding over you? Dad's mouth worked, struggling to form the words. Finally, he whispered. His name is Marcus. I used to work with him years ago. I stole from him. My jaw went slack. You what? I was young, he stammered. Your mother was pregnant with you. We had no money, and he trusted me with a loan, but I never paid it back. Then I covered it up. Years later, he found me again. I nearly collapsed from the shock. Dad, are you kidding me? You built our entire family on stolen money. Tears flooded his eyes. I try to make it right. I swear. But Marcus threatened to expose everything. He wants it all repaid with interest. That's why I cut him off, seething. So, you decided to take from me instead. His shoulders crumbled under the weight of his guilt. I'm sorry, Natalie. I was trying to protect you from all this. I stared at him, disgust battling pity inside me. No, you weren't protecting me. You were protecting yourself. The beeping of his monitor grew louder as my words sank in, heavy and final. And that's when I heard him whisper my name from behind the door. Natalie. This time the voice was different, deeper, unfamiliar. I spun toward the doorway, my pulse spiking. A man in a crisp gray suit stood there, hands folded politely, but there was nothing kind in his eyes. Who are you? I snapped, my body tense. He smiled, calm and icy. Marcus. I believe your father has told you about me. Every cell in my body went cold. You're the blackmailer? Marcus tilted his head, studying me like a curious animal. Blackmailer is such a nasty word. Let's say, creditor. I stepped closer, jaw clenched. You destroyed my entire family with your threats. He gave a soft laugh. Your father destroyed your family, dear. I simply collected the bill. Dad shifted on the bed, shame burning red across his face. Marcus, please. Marcus raised a finger. Don't waste what little dignity you have left. Then he turned back to me. Natalie, I hear you're quite successful. $5,600 a month, plus bonuses. Impressive. My stomach churned. How the hell do you know that? Marcus's grin widened. I make it my business to know. I shook my head, rage buzzing through every nerve. You're not getting a cent from me. He stepped forward, so close I could smell the mint on his breath. If I don't get what I'm owed, your mother learns everything. Your sister loses any support for that unborn child. And you'll be alone. Again. I felt something snap inside me, sharp and wild. You don't scare me, I spat. Marcus's voice dropped to a whisper. You should be scared. You think you're stronger than your father? Than me? Trust me, Natalie, no one is. My fists curled, nails biting my palm. Get out, I seethed. He leaned in, so close I could see a faint scar along his cheekbone.
No.
My knees almost buckled under the rage that tore through me. Brooke appeared behind me, voice cracking. Natalie, what do we do? I glanced back at her, then at Dad, then at Marcus, the vulture picking at what was left of us.
Something in me changed right then.
The fear turned to a cold, perfect clarity. We're not paying you, I told Marcus, steady as stone. He raised an eyebrow. Then you'd better be ready for war. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, an eerie glow washing across Marcus's smirk. And that's when I heard him whisper my name from behind the door. Natalie. It was Mom this time, stepping through the door with an urgency I'd never seen in her before. Her eyes darted from Marcus to Dad to me, as if the air itself had turned poisonous. What is going on here? She demanded, voice shaking. Marcus turned toward her with a polite bow, like a snake in a tailored suit. Mrs. Moore. We were just discussing finances. Mom's gaze cut through him like a blade. I heard enough outside that door. She looked at Dad, betrayal written across every line of her face. Is it true? You stole from him. Dad looked like he'd been shot. It was decades ago, Claire. I did it for us. She stepped back, horror mixing with rage. For us? You did it for your pride. Marcus smirked. As entertaining as this is, I need an answer. Payment or exposure. I took a step forward, squaring my shoulders. You're not getting a penny. He raised an eyebrow, amused. Brave words. Brooke clung to my arm, trembling. Natalie, don't make it worse. I shook her off gently.
No.
I'm done letting fear run this family. Mom folded her arms, her own rage finally surfacing. I want him gone, she told Dad flatly. I want this man out of our lives. If you won't deal with it, I will. Dad's lips trembled. Claire, please. But Mom was already dialing her phone, voice cold as ice. Hello, officer. I'd like to report a man extorting money from my family. His name is Marcus. Yes, he's here now. Marcus's face fell, fury flashing in his eyes. You think the police scare me? Mom didn't even blink. No, but they'll slow you down. Marcus lunged forward, grabbing my wrist hard enough to hurt. You stupid little girl, he hissed. You think you can ruin me? I stared him down. No more fear left in my bones. You ruined yourself. He let go, face twisting with rage, then stormed past us out the door, the scent of his cologne clinging to the stale hospital air. Mom finally turned to me, shoulders sagging. Natalie.
I'm so sorry.
For everything. I felt the tears prick behind my eyes. Me too, Mom. Me too. The air felt thick with truths, and for once, I wasn't drowning in them. And that's when I heard him whisper my name from behind the door. Natalie. The voice was Dad's, fragile but clearer, as if the poison had finally been drained out of him. I stepped back into the hospital room, heart pounding in the stillness after Marcus's rage. Dad was sitting up straighter now, though the weight of a lifetime's mistakes still pulled at his face. Can we talk? He asked, voice raw. I nodded, arms crossed, my heart a mess of hate, pity, and something I couldn't even name. He swallowed, tears threatening. I failed you. I failed all of you. I didn't soften, not completely.
Yeah.
You did. His shoulders collapsed like a broken umbrella. I should have come to you, trusted you, but I was ashamed. You let shame turn you into a monster, I whispered. Dad nodded, eyes shining. I know. I can't change what I did, but I can try to fix it. A bitter laugh escaped me.
How?
You want me to believe you'll magically make it all better? He winced. I'll confess everything to the police. Pay what I can. Take responsibility. So you and Brooke and your mom can live free of Marcus. My throat tightened, unexpected emotion creeping through. You'd really do that? His chin trembled. I have to. I can't let my children carry my sins. Brooke stepped into the room, holding her belly protectively, tears falling. Dad, please don't go to prison. He reached for her hand, voice breaking. If that's what it costs to protect you, then that's what I'll do. Mom came in too, standing by my side, steadier now. Maybe this family can heal if we stop lying, she said, voice gentle but firm. I felt the truth of it in my bones. After so many years living under secrets, this was the first moment I could breathe. I moved closer, took Dad's hand. Then do it, I whispered. Make this right. He nodded, eyes fierce with something almost like peace. I will. Outside, the faint sound of a police siren began to rise, cutting through the night. And for the first time in forever, I felt like maybe, just maybe, the future wasn't doomed. The officers walked in, and Dad turned himself in without a fight, his head high. Brooke sobbed quietly, Mom held her, and I stood tall, watching the end of a lie and the beginning of something honest. And that's when I heard him whisper my name from behind the door,